Hey everyone, Dr. Red here, and I am back after a multiple year hiatus. In this case, I've been really getting into Magic the Gathering Arena, as we can see here, of course. What I have decided to do is do a free-to-play series. It plays like your standard digital TCG. You can, of course, buy boosters, buy your way into some packs, all that other stuff, but I figured maybe trying a free-to-play account where we work on trying to start a collection through draft, maybe boosters, farming gold through a custom, or some certain events in the game and all that fun stuff. We can go from there. And this is going to be bare bones to an extent. In regards to the game, I also want this intro video or so just to be kind of a tutorial. So we are going to be going through the very kind of long, drawn-out tutorial. I will, depending on how much work I want to put in, edit, do some sweet cuts, all that fun stuff. Just try to keep it interesting, but we're going to go step by step with what we're actually doing in the game, just so people can keep up. And if you aren't sure if you want to play it, maybe you'll stumble upon this, see if it's for you or not, and we can go in from there. But for you guys who know how to play Magic, this first episode might be boring for you. After that, we'll go through all the intro decks you unlock, do at least a game with each one of those, and figure out which one we're going to focus on, how we're going to improve our collection, and what cards to swap in and swap out based on cards we unlock through drafting, booster packs, in-game rewards that you can get randomly throughout the day. But for now, we're just going to jump right into the tutorial. We're going to be jumping right into the first part of the tutorial. If I have to remember, I think it's 5 parts where they're going to be introducing new rules and different cards as you play. And this is going to be your little AI teaching buddy to teach you the ropes, essentially. But I might talk over her like I am right now. I might just restate information, but just to clarify things as they show up.
The elves of Llanowar are impressive warriors. Perhaps one of them will have
the forest belongs.
There's some flavor. In this case, this would be a Llanowar elf we're playing against.
You'll need to draw mana from lands to cast your spells.
Over here, these cards, they're going to be traded basic lands in this case. It's asking us to play a card, so we just put it on the field here.
You don't have enough lands to cast
This spell, in the top right of the corner on this creature, how it needs those 2 icons. Right now, this land here can only generate 1. You can play 1 land a turn, so we just don't have enough land to generate the mana we need to summon the creature. You're going to tap it, and so in this case it's showing you you're exhausting your land to pay the cost. That would let you play this creature here. In this case they're tapped, cannot be used again, or they can be used on your next turn. They won't untap, so go back to being vertically faced until the start of your next turn. And all creatures, they enter in with the summoning sickness, so they're not going to be able to swing or punch your opponent in the face for the most part until your next turn. So again, we're just going to go here, add a new plains in the field, and play our next Shrine Keeper just to get another body out. And now they're going to explain summoning sickness as well. Over here, the icon on the bottom left and right indicate power and toughness. Power is how much damage they do. Toughness is how much damage they can take. And just like land, once you've attacked or used an ability on your creature, they're going to be tapped, and they won't untap till the start of your next turn. So now our opponent here is going to play their own creature. It's a 2/2 as well. So again, 2 damage, that's how much it's able to inflict. And 2 toughness, how much it can take if it were to get hit in the face, essentially. Like they're saying, they untap at the start of our turn.
Keep pressing the attack.
In this case, as far as designating attackers, unlike Hearthstone and such, when you are able to specifically target mobs or the face or anything of that sort, as far as Magic's concerned, you can only have, well, technically 2 legal targets, but for now, we're just going to treat it as you can only attack their face. So essentially, we're just going to attack with all of our guys. It's going to be targeting our opponent. And it's up to them to decide if they want to block any of our creatures with what they have. Again, 2 attack, 2 toughness. Both of their toughness in this case is going to drop to 0, so both of these creatures are going to die. whereas this one still got through and doing 2 damage to the enemy.
Pity I have to crush you.
Of course, we have the mana. No sense ending a turn yet, to an extent, so we're just going to play this Loxodon Line Breaker. Cost-wise, it only costs 1 white mana specifically, and 2 of any color, so it used all 3 of our land to play. With his, it has 2 forest it needed and 2 other land, but look at how much better the stats are in contrast to the creatures we've been playing.
That beast will destroy your creatures if you attack now.
Again, it has that 4 power and 4 toughness. Anything we attack into him right now will just die as is, so there's no sense just throwing our creatures to the wolves unless we have a way around this Baloth.
You've shown spirit, but I will show you strength.
In this case, he's using a sorcery. Think of it like a temporary buff for your creature with this one. His creature is going to be getting +4 power and +4 toughness this turn. So now it's an 8/8.
Stand your ground. One of your creatures can block it.
Now obviously we can see our health here. We really don't want to take 8 damage to the face, so we're going to be blocking with one of ours. This 2/2 creature is going to be less valuable to us overall than this 3/2. So we're just going to block. In this case, this would be a chump block. We don't get anything out of the deal. We're just keeping ourselves alive, essentially. And it doesn't matter the toughness ratio in this case, just because that's how it happened. We didn't take any damage. Any of the excess is just overkill, essentially. That doesn't hurt us unless they have some other traits, but they'll go into detail of that later. In this case, like they had that Feral Roar, we also have some combat trick abilities like that. In this case, Take Vengeance. Since this creature's swung, and it's tapped now until their next turn, Take Vengeance lets you destroy a target tapped creature. We're just going to do that, blow up their much larger creature. The way is clear, we're just going to swing, punch her in the face. They're going to play another little 2/2, another 2/2 on top.
We've got you cornered.
Cast the spell.
So as you can see, these 2/2s could block and kill our Loxodon, but we've got another spell. In this case, it will tap all creatures our opponents control with a toughness of 2 or less. Toughness of 2. When creatures are tapped, they aren't able to block, so we're able to run right on through with our big Raging Elephant. Easy as that, you would have played. Maybe not an exact normal round of Magic, but this is essentially what you're going to be doing. Playing creatures to an extent, and just trying to bring their life total down to 0. And of course now we're just going to jump right into the second game, next part of the tutorial. In this case, I believe they're going to be adding some new creature types, some new cards for our deck, just going through a few more different effects of how the cards can interact with the game.
Good work back there.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into our next match with the next AI training bot, Murbo? So he's going first. He's playing a Mountain, so that's a red mana. He's playing a Raging Goblin. You'll see this one's able to do something that our creatures haven't been able to do so far. The turn he played him, he was able just to swing as soon as he was dropped onto the field.
These things are basically harmless.
The reason that's the case is this creature is, in the little flake box down here, it has haste. And haste can attack as soon as it comes under control. Essentially, it won't have that summoning sickness. But for now, we don't have anything we can play. Everything we have costs 2 mana, so we're just going to wait, see what they do.
Maybe worry just a little bit.
Now they're going to be swinging with 3 hasted creatures. So that first one's going to be hitting us again. These 2 ones are going to be hitting us again. So by turn 2, we've already taken 4 damage.
You need to mount a defense.
All we can do right now is play our own 2/2 blocker. He's not tapped, so we can still block. And of course, he has more toughness than they do power. So he's not going to die. His damage is going to be able to kill one of them, and they still get 2 damage through, though. However, he did just play a 3/3, so if we were just to block with our Shrine Keeper, he would die. We would chump. They wouldn't get that extra damage through, but we would lose this creature. We drew into a Sanctuary Cat. In this case, 1 power, 2 toughness. Only costs the 1 mana. We'll play out our other Shrine Keeper as well.
Your creatures aren't tough enough to survive being blocked. Hold them back.
I make a point here. The only creature we can attack to is the Shrine Keeper. It'll get blocked and die. No reason for us to attack into that.
Everybody but me, charge!
Now, I don't know if they would have planned on going into this, but I will. You do have the opportunity to multi-block. So with this 3/3 Bruiser, if we block with any individual creature, so whether it's the Shrine Keeper or the cat, it will die. But what we can do is multi-block. So in this case, you'd be adding the power here. So the 2 and the 1, that would do 3 toughness damage total. We'd be able to kill the Goblin Bruiser. And it's 3 damage. At most, with our 4 toughness, would only be able to kill one of ours. So it might not be ideal. We're having this one get through, but at least we're getting rid of that Goblin Bruiser here.
Hey, nobody kills my troops but me! Wait, huh?
And now he's going to be doing another sorcery thing, in this case. As an additional cost for this spell, on top of this one mountain he has to play, he has to sacrifice a goblin, which he conveniently has, and it will deal 5 damage to any target. He's going to throw this goblin grenade right at my face. Brings us down to 8, but we're doing okay so far. In this case, this might not always be the best choice, just tapping out here. We know he's had a lot of hasted creatures, so he could very well have a high-powered haste creature just come and pop us right in the face now. Thankfully, he doesn't. And this one also has a bonus effect. It's like an enter the battlefield trigger. So when it enters, it was able to create these 2 1/1 tokens. So tokens aren't cards, think of them just like extra creatures, some cards, or some other effects let you create. Thankfully, we have our own little nifty trick like that. In this case, when the Spirit Guardian comes in, it costs us all 5 of our mana to play.
He'd be a fool to
We
attack
heal for
me.
4, and it has 3 power and 4 toughness. Now, we're also in the point where no matter what he blocks here, at least we can deal with favorably, whereas the cat, not necessarily, so everything here can safely block, and he has to trade in some way, shape, or form for the Shrine Keeper.
Never walk barefoot in a goblin warren.
Now, this is an attack most players wouldn't make. If they did, they could have had a combat trick to make this more favorable for them, but his little gobos just couldn't get through our kitty or spirit.
This is going to hurt.
As we can see, he's playing a big-ass ogre, 7 power, only 3 toughness, thankfully. So we're just going to play another Spirit Guardian, heal up, top off a little bit. No sense throwing our cat for no good reason. We're just going to attack with the Guardian. If he wants to block, cool. We trade a much scarier creature for ours that already healed us. And with this guy over here, we're just going to be able to block him out, trade, and now we have an open board. If he doesn't have anything to play here, the 4 damage we have between the 2 here should get us the kill.
Have mercy on me, please!
And of course, we don't need to take vengeance because there's no tapped creature for us to kill currently. Hey, that's going to be our second tutorial. So in this one, we learned that some creatures have haste, some have like an enter the battlefield effect. I believe the next tutorial goes into instant speed spells, which of course we'll cover more in just a moment. And of course, we got a few new card packs. It looks like I was wrong. We're going to be dealing with enchantments. So yeah, we'll jump right into that. Okay, so it looks like we're going up against the bot Kalubi. We're having our slight different start. We start with our little kitty cat that we can play turn 1, which it's always nice when you can curve out. Quite often your hand's going to want to look like something you can play on a turn 1 or a turn 2, and then at least have an option to play something every subsequent turn. In this case, the creature he's playing has flying. The shtick with flying, any creature that has flying, it can't be blocked, except by other creatures with flying or something that has reach. So if you can't fly, or if you can't hit things in the air, you're not going to really be able to do anything about a bird, essentially. I know a few cats in my life who would beg to differ here, but what can you do?
You must understand the air, land, and sea.
So he's going to be playing an enchantment, River's Favor. What that one does is it permanently increases the creature's power and toughness by 1. So instead of just slowly nickel and diming us for 1 each turn, now that this bird has that applied to it, it gets +1/+1. So now it's going to be hitting us for 2 each turn. Now we have a similar effect we can do, of course. once this plane decides to drop. What we can do is kind of like an improved version of the one they have. It costs twice as much, technically, but in this case, twice the benefit. So instead of +1/+1, we're going to be getting 2 counters. So our tiny little baby kitty is now swinging for 3. And of course has the 4 toughness to boot.
Obstacles may block your path, but do not lose sight of your true goal.
Is that crab wearing a pirate hat?
We can do, we're just going to be playing things on curve. Now part of you might want to swing with the cat, but all that's going to happen here is the crab's going to block it, nothing's going to die, and we tapped out our cat for no good reason. We're going to pass on attacks. Maybe we'll be able to get another enchantment card or another playable next turn.
Ebb and flow.
Worst case though, with our 2 attackers, we're able to swing through up until he plays this water nut. So in this case, the AI is making a questionable decision. In this case, what water nut does is it taps our creature, and it doesn't allow it to untap naturally at the start of like the untap phase. So this is essentially a dead card. So let's pretend we had this Knight's Pledge on this Loxodon instead. That's essentially 2 dead cards that he was able just to get rid of, unless we had a way to remove that enchantment. Just committed and dead on the field. So ideally, you never really want to be stacking too many auras on specific creatures. It's trying to teach us this, in this case, to maybe do that anyways. So we're just going to have a really big cat. But I wouldn't necessarily say this is a great idea. Because if he had another water knot and played that on our kitty cat, we would now have the cat and the 2 Knight's Pledges all stuck on that cat. Can't move it. That's 3 cards just basically wasted that aren't doing anything for you anymore.
That sounds deep.
He's playing another spell, sorcery, lets him draw 2 more cards. Another crab, which is good for him, lets him block. So we're going to whip out our Spiritual Guardian, 3/4. Gives a little bit of heal, slow down the tide of 2/2 bird pecks. Now he has a big ass dino.
When you make big waves, do not blame the ocean when you get carried away.
Dropping some deep quotes, huh?
Citizens are just so majestic.
Perfect. So now we got a bit more of a heavy hitting aura. So what I'm going to do, in this case, it's going to give a creature +3/+3 in flying. So we're going to be able to swing over the head of this Pelagosaur. And if we're able just to hold the cat back, it's going to be able to block it without issue. So what we're going to do is spread it out a little bit. We're going to buff our Spiritual Guardian. Going to be swinging for 6. And we're just going to dome him right in the face there. Nothing we can do against the bird. They might have a combat trick here, but currently we're able just to block this creature without any incidents.
The teacher is an ocean. The master is also an ocean.
Wait, what? That last one sounds a bit fishy.
Again, he's going to be playing another big dinosaur, which would seem scary.
Mystic, I was thinking
And we're
this
going to do
even
that thing I said not to do. We're going to just commit an extra aura to this creature for no real reason, but for the fun of it. Swing, and this fight. And now we learned a little bit more about aura-based enchantments. I don't know if it goes into detail later on, but there's some enchantments that aren't directly tied to a creature. They're just going to be on the field, having an effect in some way, shape, or form. Those ones are more playable because it's much less likely for you to lose an enchantment on the board versus a creature with an aura attached to it. And now, okay, it looks like this next lesson is going to be instance. That's going to be one of the more... I'd say they're all important, but this is going to be one that's very practical here.
Okay, you're almost ready to take on any for your last.
So of course, we're going to cut
Let's
right
head
into
to
this
top
next
two
one here for
to
you
learn the
guys.
art of surprise. Watch her
Alright,
every move.
so we're going to have a very similar hand, but as you can see, each opponent is teaching us a little bit of a different trick. So they have spell that can be cast on our turn. So far, everything we've done so far, you're locked into playing it on yours. No ifs, ands, or buts. However, that is definitely not the case in Magic. There's so many cards that you can have, instant effects that you can play at any point in time. So let's just say we're playing this cat on our turn.
Go on, attack me.
Nothing's happening in this case. When someone tells you to do that, we probably shouldn't. But for lesson's sake, we're just going to swing with our cat, because what could possibly go wrong?
This is my favorite part.
In this case, she has an instant spell. Destroy target creature with power of 2 or less. So that's our cat. Instant means they can cast it at any time, like they're saying here. We're going to say, sorry, goodbye, kitty.
Don't let her get on
And then I guess we're just going to whip out another Shrine Keeper.
your move.
Same thing goes, we're just going to attack into that. What are the odds they have another instant speed spell? In this case, this is a creature one. It's traded with Flash. Flash is basically instants for creatures. So during our attack step here, you're going to be able to play this creature before they would have declared blockers. And now I've basically thrown away my own character there. I guess I'll play another Plains, get my Shrine Keeper out. And then we'll do the same thing, but a little bit bigger now. What are the chances that they have a Flash 4/4 out, right? Oh, well, it got 2-1, that's not a big deal. These are just chump blocking, no big.
Aw, we don't even get a hit in.
In this case, they kind of reference it here, but what they did is they were able to declare blockers and then cast this Altar's Reap. So because blockers were already declared, as far as the game was concerned, I was hitting their creature. And because of that, the damage wasn't done to their face, and they were able to sacrifice a creature that was going to die either way, and draw 2 cards off its death. And then of course they followed that up with playing just a big, beefy, strong kitty cat demon that dealt 5 damage to target opponent, aka me.
Careful.
But it looks like we did just manage to pull out our own instant, which we will use on their attack phase.
Block first. Then it's time for some trickery of your own.
So in this case, as far as the opponent might be concerned, we're just chomping not to die. But we have this instant speed ability here. Target blocking or blocked creature, so we are currently the blocking creature, can get +2/+2. Power to toughness. 6 is greater than 5, as we know. Their creature dies. Ours lives with 1 toughness for the turn. And we're good to go. Same thing goes, empty board, we're going to swing. But who knew they had even more creatures with Flash. Some fancy combat shenanigans there.
Get ready.
But conveniently, we top decked into another one of our instants. Now that we are the ones being blocked, same trick is going to happen again. We're going to bump up to 6 and 6. Our creature's going to survive because we got that extra toughness.
I can respect that.
Both theirs are going to die.
I've got nothing, really. I'm at your mercy.
Same thing goes, we can assume this won't go well for us, but we're just going to swing in, see how this works. Down to 5 HP.
You've let your guard
But
down.
in this case, we've let our guard down, like I said earlier. We've tapped out. End of our turn. It looks like they are flashing in 3/2/1 creatures.
Now it's my turn.
Played a swamp, so they can't have any more combat tricks in hand currently.
Make some blockers.
And we just conveniently got another instant that only... And this one has a very specific trigger. Only can cast it if a creature's attacking you. For 5 mana, it will let us create 3 1/1 flying tokens. We gotta basically stop ourselves dying. So we're gonna do a little bit of a silly thing here. We're only gonna be blocking 2 of them. Not even that. We can get away with just blocking 1. In this case, this is gonna bring us down to 1 HP. But now look how wide our board
Why
is.
won't you die?
They're all tapped out. They have no cards in hand.
You've got her.
Just for the fun of it, we're gonna buff our creature Spirit over here, make it an angel, and swing for a little bit extra on top of lethal.
Touch.
First, I can show you how important instant speed spells can be, little combat tricks, things you can do at the end of your enemy's turn, not giving them a good time to react, versus playing everything on your turn, having no mana, and knowing that you couldn't possibly have any interaction. And of course, a couple more cards we've unlocked, which is always fun. And it looks like we're almost ready to wrap up the tutorial. That went quicker than I thought it would. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into this final tutorial fight.
Within an inch of your life.
There we go. So we are on to our final training, a culmination of lessons we've learned. And well, as far as the game's concerned, we're supposed to be probably outmatched in this encounter, but somehow I think we'll manage to pull on through.
Lose, and you will serve me for eternity.
Let's see, so we're dealing with Nicol Bolas.
Fight as if your life
Unbeknownst to you people, if you're not following the lore, in this case, he is basically the primary antagonist going around for the past, I think, at least 5 or so years. He's also making us discard with the enter the battlefield effect on this Jackal. Currently, we'll have enough mana if we were to discard one of these planes, which is the effect of this card, to still play everything else in our hand, so that's going to be our move here.
throw away a dragon.
And that targeted both of us, each player. He threw away this dragon, which that seems a little bit confusing, but as we are going to learn in the future, there's going to be some cards that can interact with the graveyard, where your creature cards, for the most part, go when they are used up, killed, discarded, anything of that sort. But we're going to do our usual. We're going to play our Shrine Keeper, our standard 2/2 for 2. He's going to cruel cut it, kill it at instant speed.
Here exists or perishes at my whim.
Okay, so now we're just playing on curve. So we're going to play our big old elephant soldier, our 3/2.
Power is the
It can trade with this miasmic mummy if we want it to. In this case, he's playing a card, lets him draw 3 and lose 3 life. He's been able to play a lot of cards, and now he's able to refill his hand just at the cost of this 1 and 3 HP. Like I've been saying, HP is just a resource here, so losing at or winning at 1 HP is the same thing as winning at 20. Doesn't matter as long as you win. And do our usual here. Trying to figure out if this is worth a combat trick, just for convenience sake. We're just going to show, yes, sure, let's get our Lion Breaker to win. We're going to get a +2/+2. He's tapped out, so he has no interaction available.
I will let nothing stand in the way of what I seek. Not even death.
He's playing Rise from the Grave. Costs him 5 mana, and it lets him put a target creature card from a graveyard. So technically he could have pulled from ours if he so chose, but he's going to be getting his big 4/4 flying hasted dragon. So currently, we don't even have anything that can block this. We don't have anything with reach, we don't have anything with flying, so we're just going to be playing the Spiritual Guardian, healing for 4, kind of stalling for a turn, essentially. And plus we can swing back for 6 whenever he has a dragon tapped out. And he's playing double cast. Essentially, that lets him cast his next spell 2 times. So what he's doing is Seismic Rupture. It deals 2 damage to any creature without flying. It got cast twice, so it basically wiped our board out there. But we're able to play one of our new cards. As far as how strong it is on its own, not so much. It's pretty tough. Can take a punch, but not really give it. Its power comes from its ability. So in this case, whenever a creature enters the battlefield with power of 2 or less, you heal a little bit and draw a card. And he just played a big draw spell, cost him all 7 mana he currently had, but let him go from basically an empty hand all the way up to a full hand as you'd start the game with. But yeah, we're going to start with this, power of 2 or less, so that'll trigger Inspiring Commander. And we got lucky, top deck into another one, so we're going to heal again. Got another one.
Might be able to pull this off.
Take Vengeance. We're just on a roll of top decks here. Destroy his dragon. And with our commander that we've had out, it's not much, but we have a large enough board that we can safely swing for 1, I believe. There'd be nothing worse than missing out on a singular damage here and then losing out just because of that. Sadly, however, he played this big-ass Hellion, 6/6, and it dealt 3 damage to every other creature, so that wiped all of our other creatures here. Obviously, we can't attack, sadly.
Hold back, so you can prepare for his attack.
But we do have a neat little trick in a combo type thing with Inspiring Commander. Going to be playing this big, angry, hasty dragon. So essentially he's swinging at us for 10 this turn. Play this when we're being attacked. It's going to create 3 creatures that have a power of less than 2. So we're going to be able to draw 3 cards.
I've underestimated you.
And what we can do is if we want to take down this dragon here with a little fancy combat trick, this tactical advantage is going to give one of our creatures +2/+2. So we can, in a sense, go 1, 2, 3. So right now we're only sitting at 3, correct? But with tactical advantage, one of them is going to be getting buffed up. So even then I made a mistake there. I technically only needed 2, but I'm recording this at 3 AM, so dumb mistakes will happen to everyone. What we can do, play our Sanctuary Cat. It's going to let us draw again.
Such impudence.
Getting a lot of value out of this commander here. Also lets us play our Sarah Angel. It's going to be a big 4/4 flying Vigilant Angel. We haven't gone through Vigilance, but when you attack with a creature who has it, it doesn't tap. So we're able to attack with it and block with it the following turn.
My power is beyond that of a god.
Of course, he's tapped out. It's not too much damage, but we may as well get our little nicks and dimes here. Sadly, our Inspiring Commander finally kicked the bucket. He's whipping out a big, beefy crab. Big, beefy demon. And now we have a decision. Do we want to... Because we're going to be able to trade this way here. What we can do... Buff him up. Sadly, Angel will die.
Defeat.
But we were able to trade it off, at least.
We've come this far. Don't
What we
give up
do
now.
have now is the ability to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room here. In this case, this is going to be bumping our kitty up. We're going to be swinging for 5 in the air, and they'll be doing 6 on the ground. So we have to decide, is it worth swinging? Because currently, it would take us 3 turns to do 11 damage, of course. Are we going to be better off just holding a blocker? Or are we better off just holding the 1 spirit and just chump blocking the demon? That might be our best choice, because this doesn't really change the actual timer on how many swings it's going to take to kill him as it stands. So we can just chump our little renegade demon here. We got another spiritual guardian. It's going to pad our life total, give us a blocker. Swing for his face. Our final tutorial boss is down to 3. And we're just gonna block here for good measure. Trade our demon for their demon for our guardian, and finish it with our big flying kitty. Luckily for us, he had no interaction at instant speed with any of the cards in hand, so we were able to take that at the end of the match. And that ends the tutorial. There's still going to be an entire new player experience. This was added pretty late into the Arena Open Beta, to the point where I never got the chance to go through it on my main account. And we're also going to be unlocking a few different colored decks. While we were just given this white one to begin with, Tactical Assault, we're going to be given pretty much 1 for each color. This one's going to be same premise. We're going to try to flood the board with cheap, ideally quick creatures that are just going to hit face and hopefully win before our opponent can react. Blue is going to have a lot of card draw, some instant speed shenanigans. I think this one might have some artifact synergy. The black one here, just based on the zombie we see on the front, could be some zombie tribal stuff, some removal, some death touch, a whole bunch of that kind of mechanics. The red's going to have some burn spells, so things that can do direct damage to the opponent player. Fast creatures like the goblins, some dragons. And then green's just going to be to an extent, ramping. You're going to try to get as much mana as you can quickly to play big, beefy creatures. And now we're going to have access to all those decks, and we're just going to be picking an avatar to use.
Change it whenever you want.
Sadly, all the ones down here are locked under premium currency, so we're just going to pick the goodest boy.
We stand together.
Whoa. This is your level.
Of course, tutorial, we're level 1. We haven't done anything fancy, and this is going to wrap up the first episode, I think. I think next episode, what I will do is a quick overview on how this reward track works in the mastery tree, but we will save that for the next episode. And again, anyone who's made it through the tutorial, I know it could be a little bit dry. It's kind of going through the emotions to the point where I was just making some embarrassing dumb plays there, but yeah, it's a really fun game when you get in the deep nit and gritty of it. This is, of course, the basics. There's stuff I don't understand. The stack can be weird, and we haven't even brought that up a single time. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment if you want to, like it if you do, and subscribe. That'd be great. But for now, I'm Dr. Ed, and I'll catch y'all next time.